Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Let me play my theme song. Y'all, it's Friday. We made it through the night. All right. So let's just say happy Friday. I'm so glad to be here with you. Don't forget to let me know where you're from, where you're tuned in at. I'm Madam Prezident with a Z. We do this every Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm in Atlanta. However, I'm from the inner city of Chicago, so Chi-Town. And let me know where you're from in the chat. Don't forget to drop it. We got a pretty good show this morning. It's always something going on. Like I told my good folks over here, the media makes itself. Our country is constantly in some kind of spiral, turning tornado style of something that's happening. So you will always have something to report if you're interested in being a part of that world of telling stories. All right. Before we go any further, let me say a quick prayer. You know we do this every morning. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for waking us up this morning. We appreciate you. We love you. We ask for your protection and your guidance, dear God. Show us how to be more like you. We appreciate you. In your name we pray. Continue to look over us throughout the weekend as well. You know what's in everyone's heart. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, you got to have a quick prayer. You can't, just, we got to tell the Creator, thank you. All right, moving on. I'm jumping right in it. Folks talking about they was going to be done with Target, with boycotting Target. Don't go to Target. All right, somebody put Target in the chat. Just put it in the chat. I want you to put Target in the chat because I want you to see folks still at Target. Folks still at Target. And you know what my motto is. Don't take my word for it. I will show you so you can see for yourself. Look at this.
No, I appreciate you holding me accountable because I know I'm not supposed to be in here.
We supposed to be boycotting because we ain't supposed to be up in here. We boycotting. We're boycotting. No, we ain't supposed to be up in here.
Why?
Did you know that?
Wait, what?
I'm talking to my sister.
Sorry.
Why he got you up in here and we doing a boycott? We ain't supposed to be in here. Sis, what you doing up in here? We supposed to be boycotting.
Oh.
You know we ain't supposed to be up in here.
You in here.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm proud of you. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. I'm proud of you. And I came to talk to us so we can think better of ourselves. Yes.
I better wait. My daughter did say that. I'm going to wait.
It's up to you, but...
No, I appreciate you holding me accountable because I know I'm not supposed to be in here.
We supposed to be boycotting because we ain't supposed to be up in here. We boycotting. We're boycotting. No, we ain't supposed to be up in here.
Why?
Did you know that?
Wait, what?
I'm talking to my sister.
Sorry.
Why he got you up in here and we doing a boycott? We ain't supposed to be in here.
First of all, this is, it's kind of funny, don't you think? You in Target think you about to run up in there and get a few things, and you got a sister with a phone like, hey, sis, what you doing up in here? It's like, huh? But I will say, what is so hard about not going to Target? What's so hard about it? It's not that hard, but unfortunately, what you are able to see and identify at this particular time is that where are our Black-owned convenience stores? We don't have them. We don't have Black-owned convenience stores, and it's evident during this time. So that means that we tell people, don't go to Target. Don't go to Target. That's fine. But if they need essentials, we need to be able to supply those essentials for them. You need medicine. You need tissue. We have to do our part as well. In fact, it seems like the perfect opportunity for a person to have started some form of subscription services to have a box of essentials, tissue, paper towel, toothpaste, those things that you just honestly think of when you need to go to the store. Everything else, whatever. All right. But as we continue to move on in this story in story time, remember yesterday I was sharing with you the story of Caleb Wilson, the young man who was killed by one of his fraternity. Almost, he didn't even finish the process, I don't believe, but one of the brothers hit him in the chest and killed him. I told you from the last time we did videos that this was not going to be the end of this. And this bothers me so much about when you got to come and reprimand Black men, is that you got one black man dead, and you have another one that's headed to prison. All right, let me share with you the update on this particular story right here. I want you to see it for yourself. Don't take my word. When you can see this, just put Caleb Wilson in the chat. Put Caleb Wilson in the chat when you can see this for yourself. When you can see this for yourself. I'm going to read it to you. Caleb Wilson in the chat. I believe you could see it. It's been up for a second. If you could see it, let me know. All right. Thank you, William. I appreciate you. Good to see you this Friday. All right. Here's the story. Last month, they reported a story about a college student, Caleb Wilson, 20 years old, who sadly passed away after he was punched in the chest during an off-campus pledging ritual for the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Well, one man is currently in police custody in connection with the incident. According to WAFB, Caleb McCrae, a former Southern University student and member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, has been arrested. He has been hit with 2 charges: criminal hazing and manslaughter. Manslaughter carries the most serious consequence of up to 40 years in prison upon a conviction. As previously mentioned, this incident happened on February 27th. During the off-campus pledging ritual, McCrae punched Wilson in the chest to the point it made him collapse. He was rushed to the local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Have you all ever been hit so hard that you collapsed? I know that I told you before, if I was a preacher, I would tell the sermon of "You don't know your strength." And I wouldn't even just speak from a physical standpoint, but even from the power of knowing self standpoint, to know that you don't have to hit a man in the chest and make him collapse so that he can be a part of something. You don't know your strength. So I want to show you this comment because it says a lot about what could potentially happen to the man who has been arrested. This comment says, Louisiana legislator passed the Max Groover Act in 2018 after Maxwell Groover died in a hazing ritual while pledging at the Louisiana State University chapter of Phi Delta Theta. This act prohibits hazing regardless of whether the targeted person voluntarily allowed it. This is not going to be, he's not going to be able, let me get to the screen. He's not going to be able to get past this. This is not going to just be a situation that, you know, it happened and it's going to go away. This man is going to serve some kind of time. And like I told you before, what bothers me about this is we lose 2, 3, 4 at a time, because there will be more men that they're going to arrest. Now, like I said previously, they're going to take the person that actually hit the young man, which means that if you're the one who threw the punch that made him collapse, we're letting the brothers around him was not going to let, you know, they wasn't going to take the blame for him. You hit him. You punched him out. You made him collapse. But the system gets 2. We got 1 young man in a grave and 1 young man in jail that's headed to prison. So they take two of us at a time, 2, 3, 4 at a time. That's why you can't play these games with the system. And it concerns me that he says he's a former. That means you don't even go to the school anymore. That means that I want you all to be the kind of people that's always always walking in your power. Let me tell you something. I don't care what they tell you, man. I'm a grown man living a grown man life. I'm here to see the young boys, the young fellas cross, but I ain't putting my hands on them. I ain't doing that. I'll scream at them if I have to, but I ain't putting my hands on anybody's son because it ain't worth my life. You see how this game will trick you? And this is what I want to talk about too, really quickly before I move on to the next story. We don't put enough emphasis on leadership in our community. When I was in college, of course, when you take a sociology course, a psychology course, most times it's an elective, but groupthink is very common. If you put a group of people in one place and they will have the tendency to think alike. It's called groupthink. This is a group demographic. They're going to have the same thought process, but someone have to be a leader. Somebody have to walk in leadership. Someone have to say, hey, man, I don't know what's going on with you, but you need to step back. You don't get a chance to hit anybody. Somebody have to be a leader. Either you're governing yourself or somebody have got to be a leader surrounding this because, as you can see, one dead, one in prison, one in jail headed to prison. And that, meanwhile, it's completely preventable. This wasn't no circumstance where this had to happen. All right. You all know how I get. So let's just say, don't forget that you tune to flynubianmoney.com. This is the place where you go when you want to grow. When you want to get your money up and you want to get your mind up, you go to flynubianmoney.com, and don't forget to text Queens to 87948. If you want to keep up with Madam President, text Madam, MADAM, to 87948. All right, moving on. As I shared with you previously, I want to share with you this current story. Stephen A. Smith, he just signed $100 million. If you can see the story, put Stephen A. Smith in the chat. Just put Stephen A. Smith in the chat. If you could see the screen of Stephen A. Smith, put it in the chat, please. If you could see it. I want to make sure you can see it really quickly. All right, I think you can see it. Stephen A. Smith. I don't see you guys putting it in the chat, but I think you can see it. All right, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you. All right, so let me read this article. Stephen A. Smith reportedly signed a 5-year, $100 million deal with ESPN. All right, let's see what it says. Stephen A. Smith just locked in a massive deal with ESPN worth about at least $100 million, securing his spot as the face of First Take while dialing back on other network commitments per the Athletic HQ. The move frees him up to dive deeper into political discussions, a shift he's been hinting at for a while. While First Take remains his main stage, Smith won't be as present across ESPN's programming. He's stepping back from his regular role on the network's top NBA pregame show, but isn't disappearing completely. Expect him to still pop up on major hoops coverage, Monday Night Football, pregame shows, and other events. I wanted to share this story with you. The reason I wanted to share this story with you is because Stephen A. Smith, no matter how you like him, if you don't, I remember reading an article about him, and I remember hearing him about maybe, I want to say 10 years ago, a decade ago. He says something very profound where he says, most of your children want to grow up and become an NBA player. And he says, but they should be looking at people like me and understanding that you go to college, you get you could get educated and informed in your particular field that you desire. And behind that, you can also make a living. So all these children who believe I can only become an athlete in order to make millions of dollars, we're not properly, giving them the exposure to show them, no, you don't have to just be an athlete to make millions of dollars. You can be whatever you want to be. You can start producing, start getting into merchandise, and start getting into the machines, understanding the machines so that you can be the person that produces the thing that everyone needs. This is one of the things that I told you I always disliked about our education system. Even to this day, had us learning all this dumb stuff, trigonometry. When the last time you saw a triangle? That mortgage don't come in no triangle. That mortgage payment ain't coming in an octagon. Give me the money. Look, we need to learn real money, real numbers, compound interest, all of that stuff. We got to start young there. These folks tricked us, had us playing these games. And not to mention, what I love now, this current climate is it's a lot of creativity. It's a lot of folks doing it themselves. The Madam Prezident Morning Show, it's on YouTube. People aren't waiting on ABC, NBC for opportunity. People feel like, hey, I have a voice. I can do it myself, which is good. So all that to say that, there's a major shift in the world in general, as you know. You've seen it. But as I was speaking about and reading about Stephen A. Smith, something else happened recently with Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. It seems as if LeBron James took a moment to step to Stephen A. Smith. Take a look at this right here. Of course, there is no sound. It looks like LeBron James saw Stephen A. Smith at the game, and he said, look here. Look here, Jack. Look here, Jack. Let me tell you something, Jack. Oh, man. Now, I'm going to be honest. I love it. The reason that I love it is because this is the behavior of men. This is the behavior of quality people. See, we have the tendency, let me tell you something that my sister always says, conflict is healthy. Conflict means coming face to face with. That means that you have a problem, you bring it right here and you deal with it. Conflict, come face to face with that problem, with that thing. What makes things real challenging and difficult is we have a problem and we going all around it. You got a problem, you talking to everybody and their mama about the person you got a problem with, but you won't talk to the person. I love that LeBron James, I don't know what the conversation was exactly, but he said, look, I got something to say to you and I'm going to say it to you directly. I ain't going to use press. I ain't finna fall out with you. I ain't sending nobody to you. I will tell you myself. I like to see men be manly about these kind of matters. He didn't swing on him. And Stephen A. Smith, I don't know what the response was, but he was right there taking it. Well, yeah. First of all, looking at Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James standing up next to Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James like this, Stephen A. Smith like right here, like, okay. Having this big old man come to you and tell you, blah, blah, blah. Now, people are saying that there's a possibility that, LeBron James checked him about talking about Bronny. But I think Stephen A. Smith, his job is to discuss everybody in sports. But LeBron James said, hey, not my son. I don't know. Of course, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the chat if you believe, if you believe what we just saw was about Bronny James or not. All right, speaking of fathers, this was a very interesting video right here. This one, I will say, I want to remain unbiased in this, but I'm going to play the video for you. I'm going to be quiet and let you hear the video. Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter went to social media to discuss some things, some unhappiness with her father. And I'm just going to play the video for you, and then I will give you a little input and insight about this. Like I say, don't take my word for it. I want you to see for yourself. Take a look at this.
He ignored me and never responded. I'm 22 years old now. My dad has never.
If you can see the video, put Dr. Umar in the chat. Put Dr. Umar in the chat if you can see it, because you may not be able to see it.
To have a conversation with my father. My biological father is Dr. Umar. He has another daughter. I tried to contact him about, getting to know my sister on my dad's side. I asked him if he knows her or if he has her number. He ignored me and never responded. I'm 22 years old now. My dad has never been to anything important, no graduation, no birthday parties, nothing. He has not been in my life. Again, I'm not making this video to bash him. I'm making this video to state facts, okay? You can't get on Instagram and get on social media and portray to be an activist and talk about how Black kings need to be with Black women, but you're not even in your Black woman's daughter's life. It doesn't make sense. You're being a hypocrite. And it's frustrating because I reached out to you. I reached out to you. I shouldn't have had to do that. I'm your daughter. But I'm smart enough and logical enough to know that you would never reach out to me because you don't have my phone number. And I'm pretty sure you wouldn't try to reach out to me because for what? I don't want anything out of you. I want nothing but a conversation. Forget the relationship. I really don't care too much about that at this point. I just wanted a conversation out of you and you shut me down. You ignored me. You should never be too busy for your daughter ever in life. So I just wanted to make this video to just try to, I guess, somehow find my sister on my dad's side. So if you see this, please reach out to me. Please DM me because I want to know who you are. Why do I have siblings out there that I don't know about? It's unfair. And deadbeat fathers is very common nowadays, especially in the Black community, right? We all know Dr. Umar reps the Black community or whatever, but you can't rep that if you're not even in your daughter's life. You moving backwards. You're moving backwards. It's not making sense. To the public, you look like this person, but in private, you a whole nother person. And I'm not bashing you. I just don't understand why you're ignoring me. I'm 22 years old and you have yet to be in my life. No graduations, no parties. When I get married, are you going to be at the wedding? Are you going to walk me down the aisle? Yo, I have a stepdad who has been in my life since a little girl. He has been in my life. And I thank God for him because my biological father couldn't even do that, y'all. My biological father is not even on my birth certificate because when my mom had me, he left. And I do have a DNA test. So yes, I can prove that that's my father. I would never get on here and lie to y'all. That's kind of sick and delusional and crazy. But I'm just making this video because I want to find my sister. And when I reached out to him about giving me her number or if he even had it, I was ignored. So now I guess I have to take matters into my own hands. So if you see this video, sister, please reach out to me because if he's not going to allow us to be in contact, I'll do it myself. I just want to end this video off by saying that daughters who have deadbeat fathers should not have to go through this. This is very present in the Black community. And as an activist, I would not think that you would be a deadbeat because you rep the Black community so much. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot be a hypocrite. You can't say do A, but you're doing B. It doesn't make any sense. So y'all already heard my mission for this video. Y'all already heard why I'm making this video. So if she can reach out to me, I would love that. I would love to have a conversation with you because you are my sister on my father's side that I have never met. I don't even know your name. I don't even know how old you are. I have a sister on my mom's side and I'm the oldest. I'm pretty sure that my sister that's on my dad's side, I'm probably older than her. I'm supposed to be guiding her. I'm supposed to be teaching her things because you as the father, you're not doing that. So let me do that as an older sister. But that's the end of this video. As I stated in the beginning of this video, I'm not trying to bash this man. I'm stating facts. Facts. And in the next clip, I will show y'all the screenshot of me trying to reach out to him, and he ignored me after I asked him if he had my sister's phone number. So here you go.
Okay. All right. She dropped a lot, right? She dropped a lot. All right. I'm going to, you all may not agree with some of what I'm going to say. The first thing I will say is, let's acknowledge that she's a young woman who has daddy issues. In the words of someone old school, get in line. Okay. That's number one. This is what I will say. I'm going to speak from the place of being the child. I'm not going to speak from the place of being the parent. I'm going to speak from the place of being the child. One of the biggest mistakes that we have had as children is we were under the impression that we knew what parenting was supposed to look like. We knew exactly what it was supposed to look like. But as you get a little older, you see that there were so many different parenting dynamics. Now, she's saying that Dr. Umar was not present in her life, but she's also saying that she has had a stepfather that has been present her entire life. That means that she has had a father figure in her life. Okay? So, although she has not had the father figure of her biological father, she has had a father figure in her life. Here's what is going to be challenging for you all to hear. Sometimes our parents do not want to deal with messy children. I'm not blaming children. I'm just being factual. If your father wants to see his daughter, but she's going to have the attitude of the mama, then daddy don't want to see you either. Your mother has contaminated all of your thoughts, all of your behavior, and you have become unpleasant. Let me ask you something. I'm being honest. See, you all thought that I was going to have this cookie cutter experience and just say, oh, he a man. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to be realistic. When we show ourselves to be unpleasant, unruly, don't listen, when we decide that we are the adult, then our parents cannot be present the way that we may desire. We're unpleasant. I know, but the first thing is we talked about this yesterday on the Fly Nubian Queen channel, which is marry before you carry. Marry before you carry. It don't matter who they are. If they speaking a good game and they want you to be the mother of their child, and they have to say to you that they want a family, you got to marry before you carry. And because we don't marry before we carry, we have a lot of, households that are different, right? So the thing that I'm going to say is Dr. Umar Johnson, he speaks about Black liberation, the Black family, while you have a circumstance like this. Does that take away his ability to be a messenger about the power of the Black family structure? Well, we have to ask ourselves, how do we preach Black family structure while there's completely opposite going on? But what we fail to realize as a group of people is it takes a unit on the same page to make things go right. A father cannot come through a door. Every time he comes through the door, it's going to be knives and darts thrown at him. He ain't going to want to come through that door. Don't want to come through the door. If I gotta come and see y'all and y'all gonna beat me up every time I come through the door, I'm not gonna. Some men are not gonna come. So as a unit, we have to realize something. Like she's saying, I want to find my sister. I want to reach out to my sister. What are you going to do with your sister? Now, this is me having a different thought process and thinking a little higher. What are you going to do with your sister? Y'all going to start a business? Yeah. What, you got to sit on the phone all day and talk, be dysfunctional, do nothing, won't have any form of progress. Just two people connecting, saying because you got the same blood. No, that we need to be, hey, we got to have productivity. Knowing your sister, you got to have some productivity. Just knowing your sister won't be enough. All that to say that I'm wanting to be careful, because the careful side don't want to completely, I don't know the circumstances with Dr. Umar Johnson and the mother and the daughter. However, I will say that when you don't want to be a child and you want to be the adult, it makes it unpleasant for our parents to come into our life and be that thing that we say that we desire. So when a father comes into your life and he's a father, that means that he's going to be coming, giving direction and telling you what to do and telling you where to go and telling you, a thought process, and you can't receive it. Then you got to ask yourself, well, what am I looking for? Because a lot of times we look for our parents to be friends, and our parents were not our friends. And those who kind of grew up with some form of responsibility and have adapted to society, we have a clear understanding that our parents are not our friends, and we turned out okay behind it. My mother is my mother. She's not my bestie. I ain't telling my mama the same thing I'm telling my bestie, okay? And not to mention, we have respect for our elders. We have respect for our elders, which people seem to remove. Dr. Boyce Watkins, that is my godfather. I call him dad. I respect him when he tells me, hey, I think you should da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't go, I say, yes, sir. And I assert myself where it makes sense. I say, well, I believe, have you considered this? Because when some men, they're just naturally rulers. They're going to tell you where to go and how to go and what to do and how to do. But we won't talk about how nobody raised us. Nobody raised us to be receptive to these kinds of things. Now, what has helped me over the years, playing basketball, being a part of organizations where there is a natural hierarchy. Growing up in a household with my grandmother, my grandfather, hey, my grandfather don't have the same personality as my grandmother. I'm not looking for my grandfather to be soft. I'm not looking for my grandfather to be gender neutral. This is my grandfather. He's a man, old school. He gonna say some crazy stuff. And I don't have the expectation of him not to be masculine, not to give direction, not to be soft and overly friendly. It's not who he is. I'm always gonna be his granddaughter. I could be 50 years old. I'm still his granddaughter. That means he still gets the respect. He gets, he gets the floor. We take a seat back. All that to say, we have to ask ourselves, when we tell ourselves that we want fathers, we have to ask ourselves, are we behaving like daughters? Or are we behaving like our mothers? Because our mothers and our fathers, they have a different dynamic. But if we're behaving like daughters, then we may have some empathy. Then we may have love no matter what is going on between our fathers and our mother, no matter what the past is. And I also would like to highlight that as women, we don't fight enough of the system so that men can come and be what is required in our lives. We don't fight the system enough. We don't fight the system. So we'll fight our fathers. Dad, you said you was going to give me the money, and now you ain't giving me the money. When he looked at you like, well, the IRS and got my check. The IRS and took this, and we don't got no fight for the IRS. We don't got no fight for Target. Target get all our money. We ain't got no fight for them. So the reality is we have to behave like daughters with our fathers. That's the reality. You want a father? Behave like one. If you come and start talking about you ain't never been in my life, how can I be here? There is no welcome. I can't be in your life if there is no welcome. And you supposed to be the dad, yeah, but you don't know the other side of being human. You're gonna, disrespect me. You're going to belittle me. You're going to make me feel smaller than I do in the world. And you think because I'm a grown person and I'm older than you and I birthed you that I don't have feelings. And that's not true. I just want us to be realistic. I want fathers to find the welcome. Come back home. Come back home. All right, I want to address this comment. Sonia Young, she says, sounds like you're making a lot of excuses for men who to step up and be responsible and take accountability for themselves. Absolutely not. I don't want to make excuses. I want to address this. I am not making excuses for men, but I am going to also let you know that there is a power structure and a dichotomy of two people, not just one person. And the responsibility of men are different from the responsibility of women. So as women, as daughters, the responsibilities are shifting. I would never give a man, personally, I feel like some women have your legs open to the wrong guys way too often, but we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that because then I'm gonna have to hold you accountable. I'm gonna have to hold the sisters accountable. How come every man that you have chosen to be your baby daddy is what? A problem? Everyone. You ain't never ever chose the right man. Why is that? I'm just saying, I'm not trying to attack you, Sonia. I'm just saying, I'm using the comment as a reality. No, absolutely not. Men have a responsibility to their children. Absolutely. But what I'm trying to highlight is what can you do? It's a job that you've been fired from. Have you ever been fired from a job? If you got a job and you've been fired from it, you ain't getting back into the doors. And that's how some of these households have worked. We haven't learned how to work together as a unit. I'm talking about grandmama, granddaddy, boyfriend, girlfriend, children. We all should be working together. It ain't him versus them. It's all of us. All right, I'm going to use this. I'm saying this because for 45 years, my biological father acted as if he did not know where I was, and now he's in my life, but he still does the bare minimum, absolutely nothing. So I'm okay. But Sonia, I want to be real with you and ask you, what do you need from him? I want you to ask yourself, what do I need from my father? What is it that I'm looking for? Because so here's the thing. My mother had me at 15 years old. My father had me 18. So I've always had young parents. But as I began to grow up, I began to see that I had really young parents and they did not have the capacity to give me all the things that I needed. That means that I began to say, oh, okay, I got to find some mentorship. Okay, I got to find this. There are times I was in college, I'm like, Mom, we got to do this thing for financial aid. My mom like, okay, she didn't have a clue what we was doing, but we figured it out. We figured it out. But you don't get to a figuring out place until you're working together. Ask your father. When I see a lot of times, because my father was killed when I was 10, I empathize frequently with men. because nobody really understands the requirement for them to go out and to become a thing. To become a thing. And also look at the stepfather. I ain't no red pill, blue pill girl, but I just want to say the stepfather in the young lady's life for Dr. Umar Johnson. She said, I had a stepdad that's been in my life, my whole life. He's been there for me the entire time. But will Dr. Umar Johnson walk me down the aisle? Why you want the daddy who you ain't heard from in 20 years to walk you down the aisle? Get your mind right. Get your mind right. You just said you had a stepfather. You have a stepfather who's been present in your life. Why won't you put your energy toward him? Thank you so much, Dad, for being a part of my life. I'm trying to tell you, this is what happens. The psychology, people keep telling us what it should be, and we keep focusing on what it ain't. We keep missing what's there because we keep having our focus on what has been gone. I ain't trying to give no men a pass. In fact, I believe in the community so much, and I gotta go, but I believe in the community so much that in my belief system, I believe that if a man has not taken care of one child, there is no way there should be a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. But when you work in a community that don't work together, that's what you'll get. You'll get a bunch of women laid up with men who don't care about women. Wow, James. First of all, I apologize to you on behalf of your mom. She was wrong for that. But James, he says here, I'm an older gentleman, never had an opportunity to know my real father. After years of asking my moms, she would never tell me. I didn't find out who he could have been until he was dead. Let's just deal with the quick reality really quickly is that what transpired between our mothers and our fathers, sometimes we don't have a clue. We having a lot of resentment toward our fathers when sometimes our parents didn't share the information. Sometimes our fathers should have never had children in the first place. But sometimes our mothers, and this is one of the reasons that I am for us. This is one of the biggest things. I am for us making sure that we have the proper support that's needed. When my mother and my father got pregnant with me, my mama was 15, my dad was 18, but my grandmother and my grandfather, they were there. They supported my mother. I call my grandfather Dad to this day. I called my grandmother Mom, because this is what happens. This ain't nothing new, having children prematurely, but the community in place for it. I'm sorry that happened to you, James. I just want you to know too, some of us who've had the experience of not having fathers in our lives growing up, as we become older, God is still so present in our lives to the point that you can just see it. I just want some of y'all to give yourself some of the credit that you don't give yourself really quickly before I go. And that is, some of you all had no parental guidance and you came out phenomenal. You came out phenomenal. You had every reason to be a robber. You had every reason to walk the world angrily. You had every reason to have resentment and be a thief and a killer, and you did not. You did not. Some of you all came out so beautifully without parents. I don't want you to ever take that away from yourself. Don't ever be feeling like, oh, I missed this. This world is evolved of so many different lives, so many different walks of life. Don't get caught up into, the Huxtables. Don't get caught up into, what was that other show? Family Matters. Don't get caught up in that. Your story, your journey, you've made it beautiful. I want you all to know I'm Madam President. I do this Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am past time, all right? I've enjoyed you all. You should follow me on social media. It's one Madam President on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. I want to say thank you so much. I'll see you on Friday. I want you guys to have a safe and wonderful weekend. And I don't care what your parental infrastructure is. I want you to know you're doing damn good. All right, y'all. Have a good day.